Good morning, gentlemen. I'm going to talk to you on another important topic. Just about a few days back, I had made an excellent video on the sleaze money involved in the Bombay films, and I'm so glad to say that all of you have liked it so much. I received so many emails in which they wanted some more videos on similar topics. Of course, my focus is politics and defense, but I have been in the civilian field for a long time as a senior vice president of one of the biggest multinationals of the world, and I have observed at close quarters what's happening there. I'm going to talk to you today on a topic which is called the casting couch. Now, this is an English term, casting couch. What does it mean? It's made of two words. One is casting, the other is couch. Casting means giving a role, giving an importance, giving a position, or starring a person. It could be in any field. It could be films, it could be the corporate world, it could be the army, the airport, anything. And the couch refers to the bed. Now the bed means, and you add these two together, and what do you get? You get a single word that means using the bed to further your interests, or making use of the bed so that you could satisfy yourself. Now, if you look at the history of the world, gentlemen, you will see that throughout history, and even now, when you want to buy any item from a shop, you have to pay money. Nobody gives you to gratis. Nothing is free. You want to buy rice, you want to buy fruits, you want to buy anything, well, you got to pay money. And earlier, when there was no money, there was what was known as the barter trade. Barter means you gave something and you got something in return. Maybe you gave a cow, and then you, in lieu of that, you got married, because the marriage institution was not there earlier. It came only much later. So, gentlemen, you have to give something to get something. And if that is the principle which has to be followed, we have to study the casting couch in Bombay films and Hollywood in the same light. I have a friend in Kerala who's given me a picture about the Malayalam film industry, and there also the casting couch is omnipotent. Now, it's not just confined to films, I'll say that. As I've told you, I've been a very senior official, senior vice president, and I've observed this even in the corporate world. It's endemic. So, gentlemen, it's not something to be afraid of, something to be scared of. It is something which is a reality. Hollywood, of course, is the number one, as we say, the numero uno in the film industry. And it has almost 60% of the global market. And then we have the second position, which is occupied by the Bombay film industry. Now we call it the Mumbai film industry, which is also over 100 years old, and it also has its own following. The only limitations being language, because Hindi is not a language. It's spoken in 60 to 70% of the world, like Africa or South America. So unless you dub or translate a movie from Hindi into Italian or maybe into African language, only then somebody will be able to watch it. While English is a universal language, and that is the reason Hollywood scores. And Hollywood, of course, got a budget which runs into $1 trillion compared to the Mumbai film industry, which runs into, let's say, billions. So there's little comparison between the two, but the ethos, the culture is the same. Actually, when Hollywood started, and the producers came in to make films, they formed big studios like MGM, Warner Brothers, and all these people came up, Fox Studios, 20th Century Fox, and they were all dominated by men. Now, that is the historical fact. And they needed actresses, women who would be acting. And maybe some of them were also, gay, they wanted probably boys. And so, when you were being offered a role in any film, in anything, then you had to give yourself. And there was no compulsion. I mean, I can assure you on that. I haven't read about any compulsion in this. It was a mutual give and take. Later on, of course, some of the girl stars have come out even in Hollywood, and said that, oh, we were used, we were done this thing, we were done that thing. There were so many allegations even against some very famous stars like Cary Grant and Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was supposed to be gay, but there was no coercion and it's never been proved. And similarly, in the Bombay film industry, also the same thing is in existence, where you want to get a role, you want to become famous, you want to earn money. Nobody's going to give you free. Why should they give you free when there are 20 or 30 girls available for this role? So if you got to pick yourself to be selected, then you have to do one thing. You, first of all, must have talent. That's the first question, yes. If you don't have talent, any amount of casting couch is not going to help you. So if you have talent, that's the first quality, and then you can add the casting couch to it, and it is something which is mutual. Now, of course, there are so many film stars who go around talking, we were used, we were this thing and that thing. I don't think I believe it, because at that time these persons kept quiet. Now, there was a star, I wouldn't like to name her, who went away to America and came back after 6 years and then made some allegation against the Marathi star Nana Patekar. And he's a wonderful star. I've seen a lot of his movies, and I think he's one of the best actors in Bollywood. But then she came and asked for money, maybe 1 crore rupees or something, and she said, otherwise I go to the police. So she went to the police, of course, because Patekar said, I'm going to give you any money, and she didn't get anything, but she couldn't prove it. You see, you got to prove that there's coercion, that there was somebody was holding a dagger on your head or something, or trying to say, okay, I give you poison, otherwise you better strip off your clothes. It doesn't happen like that. It's a mutual thing. That's what is called the casting couch. Well, gentlemen, this is something which is very, very prevalent, as I've already told you, in both Hollywood as well as in Pine Tree Studios, that is London, and it is also there in the Bombay industry. And recently, I have a friend, who's in Kerala, and he's carried out some study of the Malayalam film industry. Now, there it is endemic. Endemic in the sense that the entire money coming in is from the Middle East, from Pakistan, and the producers and the directors are basically all from the minority community. While they're looking around for Christian and Hindu girls in Kerala, and the one cardinal principle is you get a star, you get money, you get good money, mind you. The films are the highest paid people anywhere in India, not only in India but in the world. The Hollywood stars, what their phenomenal salary is. If I remember, I think Elizabeth Taylor, that famous actress, charged $2 million for a role of Cleopatra in the movie Cleopatra and Antony. So you can just imagine the amount of money which is paid to these stars. I was reading the other day, there was a small-time villain in Bombay film industry, and he was McMahon. I mean, you would remember him, that he played the role of the villain in Sholay. Now, this fellow had 55 lakhs in his bank. You can just imagine, if a small-time man has got 55 lakhs in his bank account, well, and he probably had a lot of other properties. He had a Mercedes car, he had everything. So, if this is what the small-time star is paid, you can well imagine what's going to be the payment for the big ones. Tremendous. Even some of the film actresses, as I just told you about Elizabeth Taylor, similarly the Indian actresses, even during the olden days, they were very well paid at the top level. But at the lower level, yes, there is hardly any payment. And lots of women give themselves up thinking that they are going to make it to the top. They only end up on the casting couch. That's also a fact. That means the casting couch is not a guarantee that you will become a top heroine. You may get a role, but for to go ahead, you must have talent. And that is what even I remember reading the biography of Shirley MacLaine, and she had clearly said that she didn't mind sleeping with so many people, but then she says, I was confident that I had the talent. And people who have seen some of her movies is absolutely stupendous. She's one of my favorite stars, when I was in college. And the same thing with Sophia Loren. And later on, of course, she denied a lot of things, because she had been posing nude in so many photographs. This was also part of the game. And ultimately, of course, she was the top film star. She rivaled Elizabeth Taylor, and she won an Oscar for that very famous movie, Two Women, when two women, a mother and daughter, are raped by a Nazi army. It's a very thrilling movie. I wonder if you get some time, it's available on YouTube, you can see it. Coming back to the film world, as I've told you, this is something which is very much endemic, but I'm afraid it's not something which is confined to the film industry alone. It's confined all over the corporate world also. When I say corporate world, it is also goes to judiciary. There was a case in the Madhya Pradesh High Court when one of the lady judges made an accusation against one of the judges, well, that he's been using me. And she said, I need some compensation, and the matter went to the Supreme Court and was rejected and thrown out. You see, if this was something illegal, the courts would have struck it down. Why not in, say, India? Even in America, they would have struck it down. But if there is a criminality involved, then of course the courts do act very fast. I will remind you of the case of the famous producer Epstein. Now, this man had a game, he just wanted to seduce girls on the promise that he would make them stars and give them roles, and he would end up giving nothing, and the girls would just sleep and go away. So till one of them took courage and went to the FBI and complained against Epstein. Well, this is what he's been doing, and the case was investigated and was proved true. And he was arrested and sentenced, and he was so much humiliated because he was a very famous director that he committed suicide in jail. So there are two aspects to the coin, gentlemen. The first is, if there is no coercion and it is something which is willingly done, it's not a crime. It is. But if you're going to do something and you promise a female, well, look, I'm going to make you a heroine, I'm going to give you this, and you do nothing and just have your fun and go away, well, that's a criminal charge. That's called inducement, and that is not accepted by law. So, gentlemen, it's a very interesting field here. There are a lot of people, morally talking, भाई ये नहीं होना चाहिए, गलत बात है. Well, I agree, ये नहीं होना चाहिए. I agreed. But I will not say it is a galat baat. It is not wrong, absolutely, because it is an agreement between two consenting adults. If a woman is over 18 and the man is over 18 and they decide, well, I would like to sleep with you, and he says yes, and in lieu... Gentlemen, I'll say goodbye now, and God bless.